Ronnie runs a disco walking tour with his son Braden, and when a sexy woman takes the tour, it begins a competition between father and son for her love. It also signals the arrival of an oily strangler who stalks the streets at night. This is the Cult Faction Podcast, episode 128, The Greasy Strangler.
Superman.
Hello and welcome to the Cult Faction Podcast, episode 128, The Greasy Strangler. I'm your host this evening, Brett Summers, and I am joined by
Paul Hawkins,
Damien Hicks.
And we're here to bring you a podcast of fun, excitement, and
we are bringing you a podcast. Any of the other stuff that he just said there, I'm not sure is going to be true.
He mentioned excitement, didn't he?
Yeah, I think so.
Brett, you've never listened to this podcast, surely.
Well, I'm excited and I just can't hide it. Anyway, just before we go and turn our spotlight onto the Greasy Strangler, we need a catch-up. What's been going on in the hood, guys? Damien, what have you been up to?
What have I been up to? Work and getting ready for Halloween.
Ooh, what does that involve? You bought a few goats and...
Yeah, getting ready for, the
couple of goblets,
sacrifices and stuff like that.
Built a wicker man.
No, but I've built a little wicker child that one of the kids is going to go in.
Fantastic.
No, I haven't.
I wish. That'd be amazing.
Yeah. Maybe next year.
Now let's burn it, kids.
Quick, one of you get inside. No.
Paul, any pagan rituals at your house?
I just want to know which kid he's going to put forward.
Depends how well behaved they are for the next week.
Which one's the favourite?
Well, I've got a new motivational game at school this week now.
Yeah.
Can you not get the kids to fight to see which one has the privilege?
They do that anyway, so it's just whichever one wins on that particular day.
Yeah, no, I've not been up to much. Yeah, pretty not much. I did spend...
Pretty not much.
Pretty not much.
Not much.
I did spend about an hour, I want to say Sunday, but it could have been Saturday, doing some DIY to my Halloween costume.
Oh, I thought you were going to say you did some DIY around the house. It's like, fucking hell, that's...
I don't even have a costume yet.
Jesus.
Well,
I'm not going to say that. That's a bit inappropriate.
I bought...
well, he's a zombie.
I got 2 Halloween parties, and the missus has told me that I can't go as the same person for 2 of them. So I'm going to go as Gandalf to one, because I went to Gandalf here last year.
You did, yeah.
But not to the other place, so no one's seen me there as Gandalf. And then I've got another one for the second Halloween party here, the week after. Then that's the one I'm embellishing upon.
Okay.
Good effort. See, it's what it's about for me. It's not. I don't buy costumes. I
DIY
DIY
at this one.
He's not going to say.
No, I'm not going to say.
No, just because it's like, because in this one I'm James Bond, at the other one I'm Reservoir Dogs.
No, so, so I've almost...
And if there's a third, it'd be a chauffeur.
I've almost completed the outfit. I can go as is now to this
Cool.
to Halloween party here, or I can waste hours and hours and hours doing one thing
You're
to
going
top
to
it
waste hours.
You have no idea how much time I've wasted this last 2 weeks sorting out
You've
things.
made promo videos probably, I think.
There was, well, you've seen, there is the promo video.
I'm still...
There's part of
a...
did you not see
ones.
the ticket booth?
Yeah, I saw that outside, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I haven't yet.
Yeah, so that's part of a outdoor prop.
So we take shit seriously here, folks. That's what you need to take away with it.
If you're going to do it properly.
Do it with style.
Yeah. Next year there'll be full-on animatronics.
What, from that band?
No.
What about you, Summers? You been up to anything?
I have been at work, at school, changing lives. One day
Not
at a
necessarily
time.
for the better, but
Yeah.
you've been
Yeah.
changing lives.
Change is a subjective word. I agree. I've vaxxed the hallway carpet at the weekend because that's what I do now. Rock and roll, baby.
Welcome to our world, Summers.
And
We've been there for 20 odd years, so
yeah,
that's
and,
the norm for us.
Don't Henry Kelly me. I'm not playing catch up. And taking pictures of my cats, which is also something I appear to do. If I got hit by a bus now and they wanted to ID me or quick look at his pictures, who is he related to? I'll look like I'm a cat.
Oh, crazy cat man.
And my dad's called Papa John. So it's been crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy times. But half term is a coming.
Fuck off.
And so hopefully that'll be top notch.
Cool.
Right.
Oh, did I? No. I did Peppa Pig World the last time we got together.
Oh,
didn't
yeah,
you?
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's it. There.
Unless you've been again.
No.
I know you
Jesus
liked
Christ.
it.
He bought the annual pass. He's going to use it, whether it's raining or what.
Have you seen how much the annual pass is?
It's Peppa's birthday
ridiculous.
Is it 100 quid or something?
More much, and the rest. It's a ridiculous amount of money. I forget exactly now. I was like, looked at it. That's a fam. So for 4, you might as well go on holiday.
All right, I will.
Yeah, you do that.
again. Yeah. So Peppa Pig World, if you're looking to sponsor a podcast and maybe chuck us some free passes, the children would love it, and maybe we could do a review.
they would. So Sarah
Right,
knows someone that
maybe an
works for
interview.
Poltons, and they only get 2 free tickets a year.
Whoa.
Man, that's tight.
I mean, that
isn't
is
it?
disgusting.
I bet they have a good Christmas party though. Imagine someone pissed up as Peppa Pig running around halfway through the night or something like that.
Pepper and George probably get it on.
I'm not going that dark into YouTube.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it's out there somewhere.
On the tickety tock. But okay, so that's what the fun and what we've been doing in our social lives. What about our professional lives? What have you been watching, Damien?
If only it was our professional life.
Yeah.
Yeah, which reminds me, don't forget to like and subscribe.
Don't lower the
Please.
veil. Don't see the man behind the curtain.
This is our livelihood here.
Yeah, help us.
What have I been watching? Do you know what? I haven't really watched a lot. I've watched Slow Horses, but you talked about that last time round, Paul.
Did
Have you
And
watched it
I've
all?
watched it all.
Did you like it?
It was a weaker series than they have been.
Do you get my point about how he really is such a knob?
Yeah.
No
Definitely.
spoilers, oh please.
No, I won't give any spoilers, but it is definitely weaker.
You've had like 3 years
Yeah, that's
to
true.
start watching this, Summers.
Yeah, but I've flagged it up that I wouldn't like spoilers. It's not like it's Invaders from Mars from like 1950 something.
Fair enough. Anyway, yeah, I won't give it because it is still relatively current anyway. So, there's not enough of Jackson Lamb in it,
Yeah.
and there's I don't know. Just the plot seems a little bit way too over the top.
Yeah. I didn't
Just-
mind.
Doesn't make it not enjoyable.
The problem is last series had pretty much everything.
Yeah,
Had load of action. Then basically living 2 fingers up to the yard, or what? Not the yard, but whatever they are, the professionals.
yeah. Forgot what they,
Yeah. And death and proper death, and then it comes back with this one, which is
yeah.
but still good.
Yeah, it's a bit like what we say with number 9.
Yeah.
It's inside number 9 where it's they got such high standards that when it drops, it's noticeable, and it's the same for this.
Yeah, but
But
again,
it's still worth watching.
and we get the little teaser at the end. Slow Horses will
Yeah.
return. It's like, yes, Mummy Pig's still writing and directing. Oh, Circle of Life.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah.
It's like we planned it or something.
Yeah.
Okay, Paul, what about yourself?
So we have binged watched Sweet Pea.
I've seen episode 1.
What is this? I do not know what this is.
So Sweet Pea, and I don't think I'm going to give too much away.
Oh, God, here we go.
No.
It's kind of in the trailer, isn't it?
Yeah, it's in the trailers. So it's basically stars woman or actress of the hour, actor of the hour.
Actor, the girl from Fallout.
I think
Ella
it's
Purnell.
interchangeable. Some like it, some don't.
Yeah, no, the girl from Fallout.
Yeah, so Ella Purnell, and also she's at the Comic-Con in
And
London.
Miss
This
Peregrine's
weekend?
Home for Peculiar Children.
Okay, I think I know what you mean.
Yeah, but you're
She's got
definitely.
big eyes.
Anyway,
That's all that Shalka keeps saying. For the first episode, I can't actually concentrate because I can't.
I
stop
actually
staring at
wonder
her
if
eyes.
she was in that advert years ago. Do you remember when there was like the wig with the big eyes?
But anyway, so it.
But we like you.
So Sweet Pea features around a young woman called Rhiannon, but most people call her Rhiannon because they don't really notice her. She's basically bullied as a kid.
Downtrodden,
Yeah.
sort of. Yeah.
Pulls her hair out as a kid because she's traumatized by this bully at school. She goes through a really difficult time in her life, loses her dad, loses her dog.
Her sisters are like a bitch as well, who moves away and
Yeah.
stuff.
Her sister's also friends with the bully at school.
sounds pretty depressing so far.
The bully comes.
Oh, it is.
The bully comes back, ends up trying to buy the house, her dad's house, off her sister because she wants to sell up.
She's a property magnet or
And
something.
it gets to the point,
Realtor.
It gets to the point where she flips,
She's had enough.
and she might.
She goes all Michael Douglas on this.
Oh, a bit worse.
Cool.
I'd say.
Bit Harry Brown.
Oh, even better.
With a knife. Yeah.
I think this chair's broken.
Yeah. So it's basically how she flips. Oh, interesting enough, she's like a reverse Peter Parker. So she wants to be a reporter at the local newspaper.
Oh, she goes around
She's-
fighting spiders to turn them into humans.
She starts off as a receptionist, and
There's a show.
she wants to go for it to be a junior reporter. Anyway, she ends up becoming a junior reporter, and maybe she happens to get the inside scoop on some breaking news in the local area involving people going missing and and dying.
Okay, that's further than I've got, so that sounds even
I know,
more
I've watched it
intriguing
all.
now.
Watched it all.
But
So
yeah.
what is this on?
So it is on Sky.
Yes,
Okay.
I believe so. Yes,
Yeah, is it?
I don't know.
I think
That's
it
why I
is.
asked.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, no, it is. Yeah, it's just I've watched it on Sky.
On the
Player thing.
the old
thing,
player
yeah.
jobby.
I'm questioning myself now that you said that.
That's called Sweet Pea.
Sweet Pea, yeah. So Ella Purnell, some other people.
But it does start very downtrodden, depression on purpose. Like, it sets that real, like, oh, what a poor life she's had, and all
Okay.
that. And she's all, yes, sir, no, Sophie, that's why I can't do it. And gets screwed over, and then
And again,
This is it. I don't even look to see what's on the Sky anymore.
no, nor do I. But
I don't even know why I pay for it, to be
But this has
perfectly
been
honest.
advertised, and I saw Ella Purnell's eyes and thought, "Oh, I know you." But as I said, I've watched the whole series. There are some twists and turns. Yes, it's a bit obvious in places what's going to happen, and how you think it's going to end. But it also ends on a possible cliffhanger, so you know there's going to be a season 2.
Cool.
But yeah, definitely worth a watch.
Oh, no, I do want to see the rest.
I'd give it a strong 7.5. It's got its flaws, but it's quite nice to see a serial killer
Yeah.
that's actually a woman for a change, particularly one that's
Well, episode
Not
one,
Dexter.
episode one, I would have given like an 8 to a 9 to, because it sets it up really, really well. But like I say, it's then where it goes. Once the flip happens, it's always what happens next. But another thing that's on Sky that we watched is The Radleys,
Oh yeah, I've watched that
the
too. this
family
week.
of vampires.
Oh, fucking vampires.
Yeah, but it's Halloween.
Yeah, but vampires. It's
yeah,
always
but-
vampires. Why is it always fucking vampires?
Well, you-
Do they sparkle?
No,
And it's it's Damien Lewis, Kelly MacDonald, and Damien Lewis
as his brother.
as his brother as well, who's got long hair.
All
and
right,
is
so
up
you-
there,
okay.
yeah,
You know
And,
you said that twice.
and some other people, and it is shit.
Ah, okay.
Yeah,
Don't watch it. It's on
I wasn't
Sky.
planning to. It's vampires.
that was our general consensus as well.
It was basically
the Waltons
Kate wanted,
with teeth.
Kate wanted to turn it off after about 15 minutes. I said, well, no, we started it now and I need something to talk about on the podcast. And then she just moaned at me all the way through. Yeah, predictable.
Yeah.
It's acted really well. Kelly MacDonald's brilliant.
Well, Damien Lewis.
Damien Lewis
He's-
is
To be-
a Jedi.
To be
Yeah,
honest,
guys.
I was disappointed not with Damien Lewis per se, but how they got him to act. Because Damien Lewis is brilliant. Love him on Billions. Love him in pretty much everything I do. I think he was just absolutely wasted in this film.
Well,
Not-
he had 2 roles.
yeah, but he couldn't exactly shine.
But it didn't. I think it lost. I didn't think it had an identity. I think at some point it wanted to be this edgy
Yeah.
film about this family of vampires, and as their children are getting older, they're suddenly like, I guess, in puberty. They're sort of older teens that they're coming into discovering they're a vampire
Yeah.
type thing.
Some of it was
And-
about coming of age,
yeah, like
literally
coming of
finding
age and finding
yourself.
yourself as a vampire type thing.
And am I
then,
gay? Am I a vampire? Oh,
Yeah.
and both.
Yeah, and then the son's obviously gay as well. Because we
That's
need
what.
that one.
That's
Yeah,
what I
you
was
need that
referring
now.
to.
Yeah.
Not me.
And then you've got the new guy that's just moved into the area, who is he's a cool black dude, and is he
Isn't it-
Is he a descendant of
and
Van
then-
Helsing?
No, he's
the
an ex
daughter
police
like-
officer.
the daughter likes, but it is really, but the dad's a policeman, and
Yeah.
something happened. The mum disappeared, but then guess what happened?
Got ya.
And then the daughter likes him, but then he likes the brother.
I think. Yeah. So
And it was all
I mirrors-
cliche.
I tell you what, for a film that's shit, we're spending a lot of time talking
Cliche.
about it.
I'm just saving people the time.
But the reason I'm really disappointed, wasted Kelly MacDonald, waste of Damian Lewis, and I think you mentioned it just didn't really know what it was supposed to be. Like,
Because 1 minute, it's kind of, you have your little fun bits, but 1 minute it's at home with the Braithwaites.
Yeah.
Then it's trying to be like a serious, violent horror. Then it's trying to be like,
and it was a shame because I thought it was going to go in one way where the girl turns and she starts getting a bit nasty with her parents and
Yeah.
like telling them to
and
F
then
off.
you
and,
never see her again until the
and,
end.
and then she becomes nice. It's like, well, hold on.
You don't
that would've-
see her. She just
No,
goes.
you
she
see her every now and again.
She Tracy Barlow's.
No, she
goes
comes-
upstairs. Then
Then
you
she
don't
comes
see-
back a little bit. But that would have been interesting. Her
Yeah.
going off the rails, the boy going off the
Yeah,
rails.
it
But
was-
yeah.
How they do it as well is there's all different wheels in motion at the same time with the different characters, because mum has had a fling with brother before, and before that, but
No, he
before
turned
husband, and I wasn't going to tell him that bit.
I'm never going to watch
No,
it.
but I'm just saying for anyone listening. But you get all these different bits going on, but it's like while these things are going on, we're with the wrong person. So why that's happening, we want to be with that person, seeing what happens there, not with this person who's doing something mundane and boring over here. It's like we're following the wrong person around when all the things are going on. So every time something happens, we're with the other person. It's like, no, I want to see that bit. I didn't want to see
Yeah,
that bit.
okay.
And then it kind of, and then halfway through, there's someone putting in a for sale sign across the road. And me and Kate both just looked at each other and, well, I'll put it this way, that for sale sign comes in useful in the climax of the film. And but yeah, it was, no one was rubbish in it,
No.
but it was rubbish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again,
It was-
it's a shame. When we always say this about horror films, particularly vampire films in particular, it's been done so many
I don't
times.
watch
Yeah.
them anymore. Just
But the
nothing
question,
new you
the
can do with
question
a
I want to
vampire.
ask though is, was it a TV pilot that they then just put out as a movie, do you think?
Well, it could have been. It felt like it.
Yeah.
It felt like they've got an idea for a series. Should we make a pilot?
It was
And then-
like exclusive film. It's only on Sky, and I thought, is
Yeah.
this like an Atlantic HBO like TV
Yeah.
pilot?
and if
that's
they
then
make a
been-
hit, then
we might
Yeah.
make another film or something like that.
the only real positive for me is that it was nice seeing Damian Lewis back on the screens. Yeah, he appeared in the last series.
and recent events as well.
Yeah,
His poor man's
he
life.
came back in Billions for the last series for a little bit, but it gives me hope that he's going to find a really good role and come back.
And Kelly MacDonald is like everything she touches is gold anyway, even if she's in something for 5 minutes. But it was just, it didn't quite go anywhere, and people disappeared for a while and then come back again, and so that was nothing. Anything else, Dermot?
So the fourth season of Outer Banks, or rather the first part of the fourth season of Outer Banks.
And what's Outer Banks again?
Outer Banks is adolescent Goonies. No, young adult Goonies.
Yeah.
So imagine the Goonies have grown up a bit and they live in
But they were
Carolina or
They
something.
were 30 in the Goonies.
Yeah, but so these I think the first season this guy's kid's dad had gone missing and it was the hunt for the kid's dad. Second season, some other treasure they were looking for. This time round, they've been recruited to look for Blackbeard's hidden treasure.
Blackbeard's ghost.
And it is what it is. It's what we're on the 4th season. It's enjoyable. It's stupid because they always manage to not have a mobile phone when having a mobile phone would be really useful.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. But yeah, kills 45 minutes.
Fair enough. Paul.
Alien Romulus.
Ooh.
Do I need to settle in? Because sometimes when you go on your alien rant, we could be here for a while.
When have I
Try
gone?
not, because it's
When
still
have I gone on an alien
Oh,
rant?
come on.
it's still quite fresh though, so maybe not spoiler.
I'm not going to give. Well, it's an alien film, so I think we can know. We kind of know how it's going to go. Yeah, there's an alien, maybe some face huggers.
Where does it take place in the timeline?
Okay, so I'm going to skip right ahead to the problem that I have with films like this, and film sequels in general and series in general, is that this film is set between Alien and Aliens.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
I know.
Okay.
So, and I get to my grumbly bit to start with, because in my opinion, it doesn't move the franchise forward. It's just filling in some gaps that didn't need to be filled in. You know,
Is it
I
through
would-
fear of doing anything different? Because like Star Trek got caught in that for years, didn't they? Where they were just filling in Star Wars in itself is a way where they're just trying to fill in gaps and not go too far back or too far forward in case it upsets anyone. You know,
potentially, but this is the problem at the
But
moment.
why do it then?
Yeah, we've got the
because they've got to make the money.
yeah, but
Yeah,
we've
but
got,
set it at some other point.
but we've got the 4 or 5 Sigourney Weaver franchise films. Then we've got Prometheus and the other one, which still haven't been concluded. There's still one more there that would then fit into Alien, and then this slots in between Alien and Aliens. You know,
What about the ones where they fight the predators?
but they're not canon, are they? Not really.
It's got an alien in it.
Yeah, I know, but that's just to try and make some money. But as opposed to having it after the last Sigourney
I
Weaver
feel loads
film,
of people have just
Yeah, no,
swore
it's
at
got
you
to be
listening.
canon because it's got it's got all the right names and stuff in it, isn't it?
who
The
are we talking about? Willis.
Alien versus Predator.
I know, I was only joking, but it's not like a serious alien
People
fucking
are
film,
throwing.
is it?
People are listening to this, throwing shit at their walls because you're saying this.
But what I'm saying is that's more a Predator film than it is an Alien film. And back to my point, where this is so far back in the
Yeah.
series, you know, as I said, I'd rather watch the last of the Prometheus trilogy, which there should be, but Ridley Scott, whether he ever pulls his fingers out and does it before he ends up dying, who knows, or after the last Sigourney Weaver film, I'm more excited.
I get what you're saying.
I'm more excited, or would be, about the new Alien series that's coming out, because that's based on Earth, from what I remember. But even with that, I don't know what timeline that's going to be set in. So even if it's based on Earth, while all the shit's still to
Well,
happen.
that was the last Weaver one, wasn't it? When they were stopping it getting to Earth, wasn't it? I'm
Yeah,
trying to
but that's what I
remember
mean.
Back now, it's been a long time.
I
That's the
see.
one with Ron Perlman, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
Ridley's back.
Yeah, but this is something to do with me. I struggle with things, and you know, even
Yeah, I'm
with the
the
Star
same.
Wars
Well, I'm
stuff,
saying most
and
things,
even Marvel.
you've got a
Black Widow.
storyline, make it make sense.
Black Widow made
Yeah.
no sense to make that film and release that
Well,
film when
they
they
just
released the film
introduced
when
the
they
other
did.
characters. That's
Yeah,
all it was.
But at the same time, she'd already been killed, so that didn't move the timeline
well,
forward.
they introduced Florence Pugh, didn't they?
Yes, but
that
it didn't
was-
move. My point is, it doesn't move the timeline forward.
No.
However, and you're
So
right.
all that being said,
However, it was really nice to see Alien back on well, I was going to say the big screen. It's a big TV, yeah, but back on the big screen, it had all the feel of an Alien film that you want. They try and mix it up a bit in the fact that it's more young adults that aren't in the army or aren't researchers or anything. They're just trying to get away from their planet they're stuck on because of the Wayland Corporation basically own everything, and you're stuck there and forever until you die in the mines. So they're generally trying to get away. They come across a signal of a ship that's been left to basically rot. Turns out it's the Nostromo, or no, it's a Sorry, it's a vessel that picked up the Nostromo and managed to find something in there. Guess what that could have been? So they're on this big like space shuttle,
Ship carrier.
yeah, whatever. And
Helicarrier.
so they're going there to get some cryo tanks, and they can escape to a really nice planet and live happily forever after. But it turns out that while they're looking for that, they stumble across. Well, you can guess, can't you?
Are they the ones that smash up Riggs? No, Hicks, whatever his name was.
Huh?
No, because this thing got all smashed up, didn't it?
Oh, I thought you were talking about. I don't want to say too much because I actually think go off and see it. Because
Okay.
Yeah,
But it isn't good. It's not just a run through and repeat, a rinse and repeat job.
So a lot of it it's an alien film. So
Yeah, but that's like a horror film, isn't it?
but-
I expect
Yeah.
to watch people get
Yeah,
chased by a killer or something.
yeah, so there's lots of chasing by facehuggers. Weirdly enough, there's not too much aliens, the big xenomorphs in it. But most of this is about, which is weird as well, because it almost feels like it's building up to be for a sequel,
Yeah.
which would piss me off even more.
Well,
Obviously.
there is a sequel. It's called
Yeah.
Aliens.
No. Yeah, but I meant for these. Yeah.
These characters.
Well,
There's only so much time between the events of
Yeah.
Alien and
Yeah.
Aliens that they can.
but at the same time, it's nice to see all the facehuggers back running around trying to jump on people's faces. It's nice to see the alien xenomorphs back. It's some good action in it. A lot of people didn't like the ending. I had no real problem with the ending. I'm not going to
It's going to
say that.
explode.
Yeah, but again, if
No, that's right. We'll wait and
if
see.
you've seen anything on Twitter or anything,
No.
there was a lot of Twitter chat about, or X chat, whatever we want to call it, about or how it's a rubbish ending, or didn't like certain stylization of a certain alien beast type thing. I had no problem with it. I had a problem bit with the ending, and it was a bit
don't forget
corny.
that we have a problem. People were moaning that everyone died at the end of Rogue One. It's like,
Yeah, but that was
That was the
fantastic
point.
ending.
Even I get that, and I
it's like,
lost interest
they,
years
they
ago.
had to, or they would have been in the next film.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I did enjoy it. As I said, most of my hang-ups are when it was set, as opposed to anything else, because it's just a bit disappointing. And they could have. The weird thing is, they could have done exactly the same storyline, apart from if they'd have found an alien or something with the alien on after the Sigourney
Yeah, yeah.
Weaver films. So yeah, it was bizarre. But as I said, it's got me really looking forward now to the Alien series.
See, I struggle with that because xenomorphs get to Earth. It's just game over. There's fuck all we can do about that.
But that was always the whole point, wasn't it? They had to stop them getting
Yeah.
to Earth. I don't want to see Harrison Ford fighting aliens.
So what?
What's Harrison Ford got to do with it?
Well, isn't Blade Runner part of the Moulin Rouge Corporation?
What? They're not going to. They haven't dragged Harrison Ford out to fight aliens.
They've dragged him out to fight everything else.
Oh yeah, and he's back. He's back as Red Hulking.
Yes. Harrison Ford, who hates franchise films, has got in quite a few lately,
Yeah.
hasn't he?
But that's why I'm so happy that he's been back, because every interview is like, I don't know what. That's what the movie's about. I don't care as long as they pay me.
I just turned out, said it, and left. Yeah. It's shit.
Yeah. So if you want something to watch, Alien Romulus, and it sounds weird, I'm going to give it a 6.5, which isn't particularly high, but that's because, as I said, a lot of my bugbears about it could be better, but it's just nice to see Alien back and not them just regurgitating some way to get Sigourney Weaver back again. You know,
Yeah,
there's-
that's fair enough.
There's only so many times
Well, she
they can bring
died
Sigourney
him
Weaver.
and cloned
Although-
already, isn't she?
Although saying that, I'm sure she's the voice of the spaceship in it.
Wouldn't surprise
I think they've done one of those where, similar to how she pops up as a voice in a lot of the cartoons as a spaceship.
Yeah.
I think she's the robot voice.
Galaxy Quest, wasn't it?
I forgot I watched that this weekend. I won't talk about it because I don't need to. It's so old. But yeah, I did watch that.
I might get a spotlight one day. I mean, that
deserves it.
Yeah.
Shit! It's my choice for next time. Why didn't I just say that? Oh.
Well, you haven't had to say it. But I also watched the Disappointments Room.
Okay, yeah, I've seen the title card for that.
Which stars daughter of Godber.
Kate
Beckinsale. and some other people.
Yeah, there's other people in it.
And this is like the greatest horror film ever that they then just fucked up.
Oh bugger.
I was reading up on it because I was like, well, surely, like, because you're watching it and you're like, there's all these threads and all these things that go in all sorts of direction. Oh, one of the other dudes in it is the new MacGyver lad who was in couple of the X-Men films. You know, like they remade MacGyver.
Yeah, I know
they did.
MacGyver.
He's in it, and he's right. He's like the young hot dude who's the repairman, and but like it's actually really really good. Oh, and Jeffrey Lewis. I think it's one of his last films.
Okay.
And it's all about what's her name again?
Kate Beckinsale.
Godber's
It's been a hard day teaching.
Godber's daughter, it is. I covered a lot of other films. Godber's daughter is she's had like this thing. It gets revealed later on. They got a son, and they bought this house out in the sticks somewhere. And there's like and she sees a light, and there's like a room on it that's not in any of the plans. You see all that in the trailer as well. And it's basically a disappointments room, and it's from the sort of turn of the century where people had kids that had things wrong with them or birthmarks or
a bit like the old
big thing. Yeah,
one of the Jane Austen things where the wife's locked in the attic.
Sort of thing, and they lock them in the attic because they're a disappointment. That's why it's called a disappointments room. And you know, she sees things, and it's all really good. And Jeffrey Lewis sort of appears around. He's actually quite sinister in it, which is for the guy who's normally like the fun-loving sidekick or good guy. He's quite dead-faced sinister in it, and it was quite good. He was very good at that, actually. May he rest in peace. And and it's all real. And then because we were like, oh well, that must mean that, and that must be that, and they've put all these things in which are clearly like symbols and metaphors and all sorts of different things, and you learn that why she's so messed up. And no, any spoiler bell?
No, I don't want spoiler bell. We don't want spoilers. Okay. I might watch this.
Okay. And watch the same thing. But anyway, you learn out what there was an incident that made her messed up. You learn about that, and but none of it ties together really, and it kind of ends, and then you're like, oh, that can't be it, and you're waiting for for her to wake up and that bit was a dream, and then you get the real scary ending. You know, like the sort of Werewolf in London thing where like you think he wakes up and then it's a dream in a dream, but it's not. It's just that you have better ideas than they did. And but I was reading up on it, and it was in like it's one of those films that got made and then just got put on a shelf for ages because no one knew what to do with it. And there's been different cuts of it with certain bits in and certain bits not in. And the one on Netflix, I think we watched it on, has got most of the bits that have been cut out in it from what I can find. There is another bit. There is one scene that wasn't in it that they talk about that was cut out, but that would have helped as well.
Hang on. Yeah, because he died a while ago.
Yeah, he's
like
a few years,
2 or 3 years ago or something.
But it is just one of those. Everything is. I'd like to see what other footage they got because I imagine everything's there to make a good film, but somehow or other, it didn't happen. And all the little clues, all the little hints and the tips, and you're thinking, "Oh, this is really cool," and then it just. I think it's what Americans felt like when they watched Lost and didn't understand it. But like the people that did understand still got it. But unfortunately, this one, there is nothing to.
There's nothing to get.
And but yeah, watch it though because it's really good, and then it's not.
Fair enough.
And it's just kind of like, we need 20 more minutes on the end of this just to, or whatever, and it's not. So it was a disappointment. Again, everyone does their part well. It just sort of, yeah. And the other thing I watched, I'm just going to sit there while I remember, because I just remembered, at school at lunchtimes, you probably have, we've been working our way through One Piece.
Yep.
So I figured I should watch the Netflix show.
The live action.
The live action one, because now I know a bit about it. I go in, and I really liked it.
Yeah, it's not
very
bad.
much. It's not that different at all from. A few bits are pushed in together here or there from the net, but then Netflix have only got like 8 episodes, not 2060.
Yeah.
So I can understand why they squash some of it together. But so far, I've only watched the first one because I just wanted to like a comparison, and I think if you like the anime, you'll like the Netflix series. I did, but based on episode 1,
I didn't like. Well, I knew nothing about One Piece,
Yeah.
and so when I first watched it, and he stretched, I was like, oh, what the fuck am I watching? But because it just wasn't expecting it to be that sort of thing. Because I knew nothing about it. But you what?
You get the devil fruit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the actual anime's coming along all right. Some of it is a bit annoying in the anime way that animes are annoying, but the actual story is quite good. Now everyone's like, "Yeah, I did that,"
Yeah.
and all that sort of thing, and just some of it nearly gives you a stroke through the animation. But yeah, the Netflix show, I enjoyed it. I thought it was. Comparing it to the anime, it matched up. I mean, if you don't like that kind of thing, you're not going to like it. But comparing it to the anime, it matches up. And it was enjoyable.
I liked One Piece, the TV series.
Yeah, but I will go back and watch the rest probably in half term because I can.
Because you can. It's all right for some, isn't it?
I've got one more thing.
Cool.
Unless you got anything else, Summers.
I've got one more.
Okay,
After
so
this.
because it's Halloween, we watched The Last Voyage of the Demeter. So this was...
Demeter?
Yeah.
Okay.
This was...
I've not heard of this.
Well, if I said the Demeter's the boat that was crashed on its way to England and ended up by Whitby...
It's fucking vampires again. Fucking vampires.
Yeah, so we watched that. It's actually got a good, well, two good cast members that you'll know, Corey Hawkins and Liam Cunningham. Corey Hawkins basically, been in pretty much everything. And
I know the name, I can't think who it is.
So he's literally been in everything you could
Is he the
think
one in
of.
Stranger Things that looks like
So he's been in
Mickey Dolenz?
straight out of Compton. He was Dr. Dre, Kong Skull
Oh
Island.
yeah, he was in Walking Dead as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's in Last Voyage of the Demeter, surprisingly. He's got Liam Cunningham, you'll know from Game of Thrones.
Happy Days.
Yeah, so this sets place on the Demeter, coming from Bulgaria or whatever it is, with a
The old slave triangle.
strange cargo on board full of dirt, i.e. Dracula somewhere. It's just, not very good. It's a bit of a shame. It's like they're trying to be almost aliens, but with Dracula on board a sailing ship.
Didn't they do that in Dracula 2000 and he was on an airplane? And actually, funny enough, it was done in the one who's in prison now from that 70s show. He does the dirt thing and he gets killed first,
Could be.
ironically.
But but they're basically on a ship. Dracula comes out at night times and takes the victim one at a time. It happens over a few nights. But there's someone on the ship from Bulgaria that knows it's Dracula, and he's an evil demon.
Is it his uncle?
That's weak in the daytime. But as opposed to going hunting for him on a ship in the daytime when he's really weak,
Let's wait till night time.
yeah, which is just a bit bizarre. And yeah, it's just not very good. It's wasted again, and again, the fact that it's Last Voyage of Demeter, you kind of know how it's going to end. But it's Halloween, isn't it? So we have
There's
to.
no excuse to watch anything with vampires. The only thing that's going to be good, worth looking out for with vampires is the possibly the fact that they're redoing Salem's Lot
Again.
The trailer looks alright, but again, it's the story.
Anyway, last point, just a
and
Demeter's
it's-
5 out of 10, just so I remember.
Cool. I've not even heard of that, so I might have a look at it.
It's probably
Okay.
a reason you haven't.
The last thing I've seen, which I thought might have been on your list actually, Charlie Cooper's Myth Country.
Oh no, you're right. I have been watching.
Hey,
Well, I've
yeah.
seen two of them: the
there's three
Arthurian
altogether.
one and the one I haven't seen is the Black Dog.
Oh, that's the first
which
one.
I think is the first one.
Yeah.
I just happened to flick over when it was on, so I went onto iPlayer
That's
to,
exactly what I
to
did,
start
yeah.
the one that was already on, and then I watched another
That's
one.
exactly what I did, but it was the Black Dog one I was watching. Yeah, so, really good, easy going, quite funny, even unintentionally sometimes.
Yeah.
just
Is that your
how he
profile
is.
on dating sites?
Pretty much. Massive. Yeah, no, really good. I was disappointed it was 3 episodes.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be a lot more, but that seems to be the new, I think that's the test thing, because they did the same with Uncanny, didn't they? That got 3 episodes
Yeah.
and all that. So I think that's the new litmus
Pilot.
test to see. Yeah, we'll see how these go. Well, we might give you 5 episodes next time. And that, but yeah, really enjoyable. And I think if you're interested in folk superstition and myths and legends, whatever, you'll like it. If you watch This Country and think, oh, it's the guy from this country, I think you'll like it. And if you're just someone looking for some sort of nice, easy-going, calm TV to watch in between, I think you'll like it. Reminded me a bit of Detectorists. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? It was that
definitely.
kind of just low, chill, watching a guy be really, really too polite sometimes because he's genuinely like, oh, okay, yeah, do you mind if we do this? Is that okay? Oh, thanks. Oh, and it's just brilliant. I really liked it.
Cool.
So recommended. That's on iPlayer at the moment, and I think some of the BBC channels at different times, but they're all 3 episodes are on iPlayer. Anyone watched anything else?
No.
Nope.
スポットライト
The Greasy Strangler is a 2016 American black comedy horror film directed by Jim Hoskin and written by Hoskin and Toby Harvard. It stars Michael St. Michaels, Sky Escobar, Elizabeth Durazo, and a whole cast of others. It's produced by Ben Wheatley and Elijah Wood, Lord of the Rings, and Winifred himself. And the original cut was actually 2 hours and 15 minutes, but eventually it got 45 minutes of that hit the floor, and we got the classic we have nowadays. The plot involves Ronnie and his son Braden, who run Big Ronnie's disco walking tour, the best and only disco walking tour in Los Angeles. Ronnie is a delusional relic from the disco era and hides a terrible secret from his shy, browbeaten man-child son Braden. During one tour, both men take a fancy to Janet, a curly redhead who takes a shine to the disbelieving Braden, and the two begin a whirlwind courtship, much to Ronnie's dismay. In the city of Los Angeles, though, a greasy strangler begins stalking the streets and murdering people, and as the father-son love triangle intensifies, the killings continue.
Intensifies.
Intensifies even, sorry. And Braden
Testify.
starts to suspect his own father. Ooh. Okay, the Greasy Strangler. First memories in Damien.
So I remember it the first time round, if you like, back in, well, it wouldn't have been 2016. Probably the hype probably hit fever pitch in 17, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
And I remember being so annoyed about everyone talking about it, I decided to watch it. It wasn't what I expected. I'll leave it at that.
Paul?
No, this passed me by. I don't know. I don't know how, but lucky enough, I just don't remember ever being mentioned in any of our conversations at the time.
I just remember there was at one point in around 2017, and I don't know why. It wasn't lockdown then, was it? It was
No,
before
no.
lockdown. But I was flicking through, and on the categories on Sky Movies, that actually had, there was like about a month where it had cult movies. And I was like, what? Okay, and I have a look, and it was all the usual ones you'd expect, and half the, we've done some of them, and all the ones that they say are cult movies when they aren't really.
Yeah.
'Cause they're just movies that are on Sky anyway, but they've just put them in there. And then there was The Greasy Strangler, and I was like, well, don't know that one. I'd not heard of it, and so I thought, oh, I'll watch that then. And I've been telling everyone about it every day ever since. And, yeah. So it was unheard of, and then until it wasn't.
Yep.
It had a budget of $20,500, which it made back in its opening weekend, with a final box office of $57,091. But it made 49% of that back in the first weekend. But
not bad,
obviously,
though.
since then, on Blu-ray and DVD and whatever else, video probably. Cause
I mean, to be fair, they could have put that 22,000 on Red, and and 50-50 chance to get their money back. So
Yeah.
swings around the
one person that often gets missed out that I have noted on here, the music of the film was by Andrew Hung, and I think that should be noted. I think he did a great job in the unique soundtrack that it has.
Yes.
That's your opinion.
Okay, the film stars Michael St. Michaels, who was seen in Ninja Academy, the Once and Future Smash, as Big Ronnie.
For a second there, your voice was perfectly in the microphone. For a split second.
Just for a split second,
Yes.
I know. I'm trying to read it.
You can hold
Sky
it.
Escobar is Big Braden, his son, who was also in An Evening with Beverly Loughlin. Actually, nearly everyone in this is also in An Evening with Beverly Loughlin.
Well, yes, same director.
It's the same director, same follow-up. Elizabeth Durazo, who, upon watching it this time, I realised that she's in Eastbound and Down. But in Eastbound and Down, she's Mexican, and in here, she's
Not.
she's a little bit darker than she is in Eastbound and Down. So I don't know if you can do that anymore. But
Maybe she just went out in the sun.
Janet, and and there's a Oinker is played by Joe David Walters, because I just feel he really committed to the part. And Big Paul is played by Gil Gex, who should be in a lot more films. Okay. Yeah, on to the plot, I suppose. We talked about our first impressions. And
We have.
We've got hints of where this may be going with different people. Over to you, Paul.
Okay, Ronnie, a pathological liar who fabricates stories about disco groups like the Bee Gees, runs a disco-themed walking location tour in his town alongside his son Braden, who aspires to be a space fantasy author. Ronnie allows Braden to live with him, seemingly because Braden prepares excessively greasy food for him. Ronnie asserts that Braden drove his mother away, though truthfully she left Ronnie for a fitness expert named Ricky Prickles, who had amazing abs, as we're told several times. As we meet the duo, they are on a disco walking tour where they show their customers where the Bee Gees wrote Night Fever. This turns into an argument for free drinks that were promised in the tour advertisement. Ronnie says no drinks, and soon the tourists leave the tour after begging for free drinks and demanding free drinks for quite a long time. Only Janet remains, who Braden talks to, and they begin a romantic relationship. Well, is it?
Well,
romantic?
there's a sparkle there, isn't there? They give it the hint, is the...
It's a relationship. Let's call it that.
I like this bit. I think it sets it up well. The whole disco walking tour just cracked me up the first time around, and still does a bit, because although that it is stupid, there are things like that probably are happening in
Oh, of course there
at
is.
the moment.
Yeah.
Like that bit there, that's where he did that, and whatever. That doorway there is where they wrote Night Fever, and it's like, and I really like the people on the tour.
Yeah, I wanted to see more of them.
Yeah, well, you're in for it.
Yeah, but still more of them.
Paul?
At this point, I was thinking, I thought Brett was my friend. I mean, we've known each other over 35 years.
38,
I'm sure he must know me by now. He knows that I don't really like surreal, weird comedies that aren't really comedies. Surely this can't be like a Jesus Shows You the Highway type fucking film.
I'm going to enjoy this.
I'm getting lots of indications this is going to be absolute shite already. I quite like is the wrong word. The bit part characters already, I prefer to the main characters in regards to. I think they could have had a spin-off somewhere that could have been funny. But no, at this moment, my level of anger is starting to rise. It's the bit. It's a lot. Actually, it's a lot of the film already. But the bit where they start going, free drinks. Free. It's like, okay, they did it for like 30 seconds. And then they carry on doing it. I'm already not surprised that only 45 minutes was cut off and landed up on the floor. But yeah, that's where I am right now.
Damien, what did you think of the opener?
So as I alluded to when I said about memories, so I remember the hype about this film, and just the title alone gave me the impression this was going to be something of like a noir kind of stalkerish type.
Stalker slasher. Type.
Yeah. So that's why I alluded
That's
to
why
my
you didn't
disappointment.
veto it, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, because I
know,
saw
but
this.
did you forget?
No, I just thought it was. There's a number of reasons I didn't veto it. So on second viewing, when the music kicks in and they're walking across to the doorway, this little smile came across my face because I remember I'd almost not blocked it out, but because I was so annoyed that it wasn't what I was expecting the first time round.
Yeah.
But I think this does a great job of setting its stall out. It's already a little bit surreal. I think they could have gone a little bit further with what the two guys are wearing. It could have.
What?
Could have. I don't know.
Maybe we're going to come on to this, but their fucking wardrobe throughout this film.
Yeah, but I think they could have gone further with the wardrobe to give it that proper campy.
Are you saying the wardrobe or lack of wardrobe in a lot of the film wasn't fucking camp?
No, I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying they could have done a bit more with it.
Right, okay.
And maybe change their outfits a bit more often when they're doing the tour.
They didn't
But anyway,
have a budget. I was amazed that they managed to get the wardrobe that they had. I didn't realise it was $22,500 budget. That almost. Oh, I'm not going to say anymore.
Okay, let's move on to the next bit before he explodes. Damien, over to you.
So it's soon night time, and we then see the three tourists from earlier on at a motel. As they discuss potato chips, Ronnie, completely covered in grease, smashes one through the vending machine and strangles the other two. The mysterious killer is soon dubbed the Greasy Strangler. After his killings, he cleans himself of the grease by standing in a car wash. I can't stop it. By standing in a car wash run by a blind man named Big Paul. Another night, Ronnie strangles a hot dog vendor he had gotten in an argument with earlier, causing his eyes to pop out of his head, which Ronnie cooks and eats. Okay, so you've missed out a lot here. The
That whole bit.
the bit where they're at the vending machine,
But
and he's going,
What
what are these chips made of? Potato.
I don't know.
But what are you saying?
It's like, it's the way that the guy is so apologetic that he doesn't understand,
No,
which makes it so funny.
I'm sorry, but
I'm sorry,
what
but
is he
I'm not
saying?
understanding you.
Say it slower, maybe. Can you say it a little bit slower so I can?
And I can see this is one of those things where if you're not on that wavelength,
Yeah.
it pisses you off. The fact because they keep doing it.
Oh, and they keep doing it.
They
and doing it
do
and doing
what
it.
should be a 2-3 second joke goes on for 30 seconds. But in my head, that makes it even fucking funnier.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, it was the bit where he's begging for his life at the end. It's like, I have a woman in my room.
The thing about that bit, that's almost reminded me of like what would be a small sketch from the Fast Show. You'd have this person that wouldn't be able to say something, and that'd be like a 30-second. What's on telly tonight? Sorry, what? I really can't understand. So, say it slower. What's he saying? The bill. Oh, okay. Yeah, a 30-second sketch. But this.
But to be fair, the Fast Show then did those sketches for 10 years in a row.
Yeah, over and over again.
But snippets. They were just sketches. Okay, carry on. Yeah. No, hold on.
Say it.
Yes, it's the Greasy fucking Strangler, but I want the hot dog with grease. Give me more grease. can't do that. It's a health and safety violation. You're not allowed in there. I want more grease. If he fucking says grease, how many fucking times does he say grease? And I know it's a surreal comedy. Is he really the Greasy Strangler? Yes, we all know he is. But this is, him. Oh, it just wound me up.
Did you like when he ate the eyeballs?
No, it's shit. It's fucking shit. Although the only thing I'd say about that is on the budget of $22,500, they didn't do a bad job. Even the grease looked,
Greasy.
greasy. That's probably where a lot of the budget went on the outfits for them and
It was
the
actual
vats of grease.
The actual grease that they were, it was tapioca pudding.
Yeah,
Oh,
which is
that
not
they-
something we really that familiar with over here, is it?
But that was what they used.
We
for
were
the
in the
grease.
70s, I believe.
Apparently so, yeah.
Well, they lived in. They're still in the 70s. Okay, so Braden and Janet have sort of met up now, and then one night, Braden and Janet have sex.
Well,
Quite graphically. Ronnie attempts to seduce her the next morning while she is peeing on the toilet, and he's brushing his teeth. The Greasy Strangler then visits Braden's best friend Oinker and kills him. Ronnie later takes Janet out on a date to the discotheque, threatening to evict Braden if he doesn't allow him to do it. There, Ronnie attempts to kiss Janet, but she resists, saying that she may be in love with Braden. So Ronnie tries to impress her by telling her of his adventures with Michael Jackson, although Braden later confirms that it was a lookalike who cruised Hollywood as a male prostitute. So we get the love triangle is beginning to bloom. I was just getting to like Oinker, and he was knocked off straight away almost.
Oinker should have been a character for Mad Max 2.
It was just the fact that no one even, again, the surrealness of it, no one even mentions that he has a pig nose or anything like that. It's just,
No, he's just called Oinker,
he's
and
just
you
called
find out a
Oinker.
bit later why.
yeah.
Or why he has the nose like he
Yeah.
does.
But we get the underhandedness of Ronnie. And
Yeah, greasy bastard.
Janet's, I'm not sure if is she being swayed? I don't know. Paul, over to you.
You want me to carry on with the plot or just tell you how much my anger is still rising at this point?
Well, you-
I'm more interested in your anger than the
Oh,
plot.
for fuck's sake. At this point...
Did you like Oinker, though?
No, because you don't see him. He's in it for 30 fucking seconds. They talk about potato more than Oinker's in the fucking film. As I said, as a character, he could have been good. He could have been like the character in something like Mad Max 2 that drives a rig. Well, to be fair, he'd be shooting the guns at someone and then Max would kill him. Yeah, but wasted character. But no, I'm getting annoyed. My blood pressure is probably increasing. I'm thinking I think at this point I was actually checking the length and the runtime and how much I'd already gone past and how much still to come.
Cool.
Okay, next bit.
Janet is helpless in desire as she secretly watches Ronnie erotically dance. Well, is it erotic? Whatever, he's dancing. His perfect phallus... Well, it's not perfect, is it? His fake phallus glistens in the moonlight as he dances. His alluring disco outfit is having an effect on her, but she is in denial. She's trying to basically get rid of her urges. She returns to Braden, telling him nothing happened. Braden is worried his dad is a smoothie, though. Suddenly, a phone rings informing Braden of Oinker's death. Braden and Janet go and identify the body. Braden needs a timeout, so they go to the table at home, and Braden eats Whatsits. Yeah.
Should we go to the table? Yeah, okay.
Braden tells Janet he will investigate the Greasy Strangler himself, but Janet is scared as it is too dangerous. Braden says he is not afraid of dying. Well, he hasn't really got a life. And he wants to make sure he never murders anyone else. Janet howls at this, weirdly. Braden spots some grease on his kitchen floor, which he gathers as evidence. He then turns to Janet saying, I'm falling for you hard and fast, and I'm shit scared right now. I've got to expose the Greasy Strangler. And then Janet eats Watsits. Yep.
So tell me about his perfect phallus.
Well, I mean, I was a bit worried to start with in case it was a real thing. But obviously when you get a close-up, you can tell it's just some weird shaped phallus that they've stuck on and used a hell of a bush to hide whatever they've been sticking it on with. And at this point, I'm thinking, oh fuck! The film's really going there, isn't it? It's this is just a taster of what's to come. This is the taste of the greasy shit that I'm going to be subjected to as this film continues. You know that the dad is going to basically get it on with the girl somehow. Whether that's by force or his erotic dancing or his just great personality, but yeah.
I thought the dancing was cool.
Did you find it erotic, Damien?
No, but I did find it funny that when he's swinging, and the other guy for like the first shot, the guy in the corner is just watching them, and then it cuts away and comes back again, and he's directly behind him doing exactly the same thing. I don't know. It's just funny.
Mm-hmm.
Braden later makes Ronnie some toast and spreads the grease that he found at the crime scene. Ronnie finds it delicious and asks Braden what's on the toast. Braden says it's like he usually has it, but Ronnie calls him a bullshit artist and says it's not the oil he usually uses.
Bullshit artist! Bullshit artist!
I call bullshit artist! Braden says he thinks his dad has an idea where he got the oil from, and Ronnie runs off. Braden phones Janet about his suspicions about his dad. Then they have phone sex. Braden then goes to talk to his dad. If you're listening on the podcast, Paul has his head in his hands. Braden then goes back to talk to his dad, but he's gone. Ronnie is with Big Paul and tells him they're going to disco. Big Paul comes back to the house. Braden wants to go disco dancing with them, but Big Paul says no, and they laugh at Braden. Then they leave mockingly.
Mocking Braden.
Sorry, then leave mocking Braden,
who used to be.
That says suit.
I know. Oh, typed it late.
Okay. They then leave mocking Brian, who used to be on the meds for sad kids. Once they go out, Braden searches the house, finding his father's sketchbook full of erotic art.
Paul, you had something to say about this bit?
There's just so many wrong things. So
this is the bit with the. So you got one end of the spectrum with fake knobs, and the opposite end of the spectrum with fake knobs. Is that what?
Yeah. And you literally see him masturbate this small penis.
Cocktail stick or something.
Well, yeah. But again, it's a deformed. It's a deformed small penis, and you just got this guy sat basically naked on the bed, wanking or masturbating, whatever we want to say, having phone sex with his weird girlfriend and his weird relationship, and it's just wrong. Was this also the bit of the film as well before they go to the disco? He's basically telling the blind guy, "Let's go disco dancing," and he basically leans over in front of him and farts.
Oh yeah, there's a fart. There is a fart as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So again, you got that.
There was depth in the scene. You're correct.
Yeah. And yeah.
I just like the fact that Braden is again like the outsider, even though he's older now, and there's still you get the idea that this has happened for years. And it's like, you're not coming with us, and they're just taking the piss at almost like the little brother thing.
Yeah,
and just mocking him and cutting him down, and again, Big Paul could have been a lot more. I feel.
Yeah.
What did you think of this scene, Damien? The emotional roller coaster it is of young love.
It's heartfelt and. No, I like. It's funny. So there's part of me that was expecting Big Paul to say, "I'm only joking." Yeah. Of course, you can come along because you think Big Paul's going to be a nice guy, but
what point of the film to date do you think he's going to be a nice guy?
Well, he's a cool dude that runs a car wash.
Is he? What?
He's blind. He runs a car wash. He must be quite laid back. He's chill. He's disco, but he's not.
He's got the twats for like a best friend. Yeah, you can't.
They're not best friends. They just go discoing together.
Well,
Big
anyway.
Ronnie and Big Paul.
Yeah, they might have been best friends back in the day.
No, he was best friends with John Travolta, wasn't he?
In real life, he was John Travolta's hairdresser.
Yeah.
Great. And that's probably why, he had to do this fucking film, because John Travolta started losing his hair and needed professionals to sort his hair out.
Let's see what happens next then. Well, anyway, Braden rings Janet saying, "Come over now. I'm shit scared and I love you." She does, and they get jiggy. And then as Janet leaves the house, Ronnie is waiting. He tells her she looks deliciously sexy tonight, and she responds positively. And Ronnie talks about the creamy milk in the cocktails he had, and this gets Janet going. And when Ronnie asks her, "Do you want to come in and do something sensual?" she pretty much drags him back to the house. So the love triangle is complete.
Yep. You think she's going to resist, but she just cannot resist the charms
Of Big Ronnie
of Big Ronnie.
and his talk of milky goodness.
Milky cocktails.
Yeah, I was going to write something out, but even it got too much for me. But, so what did you think of Janet's portrayal, Paul?
Yeah. What? I mean, what portrayal of what?
Braden. She's got off with his dad.
Oh, I thought you said portrayal.
No, betrayal.
Oh, right. Well, yeah, they did it so they could get some laughs in the next scene, no doubt. That was it. It's supposed to be funny about how this unerotic guy is so sexy, and she finds him sexy and can't help herself. That's what it's supposed to be.
Okay, well...
Let's crack on with the plot then,
let's
shall we,
read
Paul?
on then.
Oh, great. I have to read this bit out, do I? Ronnie and Janet have sex. Oil and grease. Lots of oil and lots of grease is involved. And there's lots of sex. All night. Braden is crying in the other room. The next morning, they laugh at Ronnie's massive mouse's head. And then at work, Ronnie tells Braden he's officially dating Janet. Oh, God, yeah. And then a bullshit, horseshit artist row erupts. It goes on and on. Braden screams, "Janet was my first, and she's...
And she loves me only.
And she loves me only," which Ronnie calls bullshit and explains why. Ronnie threatens to evict Braden and his whiny ass forever. That night at dinner, Janet and Ronnie are all over each other, eating the food that has been cooked for them in lots of grease. And later in bed, Ronnie romantically declares, "You are so much more than a hot, wet pussy," to Janet. He declares her, a hootie tootie disco cutie, which they repeat again constantly over and over. What they do, whilst dancing, surprisingly. All whilst Braden stomps around his room, growling with his hands over his ear. Braden then bursts in angry. They shout at him again constantly, and he starts crying and runs out after Janet moves her butt cheeks to say it to Braden. Yep.
Hootie tootie, disco cutie. Hootie tootie, disco cutie.
Mm-hmm.
It's quite emotional, that bit, though. Poor Braden.
I have to admit, that bit did get a bit tiresome for me, because I don't know why. It's just...
Well, yeah, you're
Probably
gonna
because it
make
goes on for 2 minutes. And they're both naked, and then she turns around and shows her ass, all the while singing "Hootie Tootie Disco Cutie" constantly. I don't know, but yeah, I again, yeah. Repeat much.
Okay. Braden goes back to... Dog, did you want to say something?
Do you want to say something, Brett? About how great...
I just felt it was really horrible just seeing Braden's heart break like that.
Why? He's a loser. He's always been a loser. His dad should have evicted him. That would have been the best thing for the both.
Losers deserve love too, Paul.
No. He should have been evicted and got on with his life at an early age. It would have been better if he just kicked him out as a kid and let him get adopted.
Or he could have lived with his mum and Ricky Prickles.
Yeah.
Ricky Priggles wouldn't have him.
No one would. He's a loser.
But every loser wins at some point.
Nick Berry.
Okay. Braden goes back to writing his new urban cyber thriller, Revenge Incorporated, which is set in a dark future where revenge is outlawed. But there is a company you can hire to get revenge for you. But he can't get Janet off his mind, so he goes for a drink of water and bumps into Janet. Braden professes his love to Janet. She replies, "Don't say it unless you mean it." But Ronnie overhears this and once again becomes the Greasy Strangler and goes to the car wash to strangle and decapitate Big Paul using a saw. He then dances with Big Paul's head before slam dunking it, although he misses the slam dunk.
One less dance for the Disco Boys.
Yeah. This bit annoyed me though, because where's the motivation for killing Big Paul?
I think he's just angry now that
Yeah,
he'll
but
even just kill his best friend.
He didn't think it through because he's not going to have a car wash to go to soon. Because
well,
the advantage of going there is he can't see him covered in grease.
That is a key plot point as it develops.
True, but yeah.
Were you happy with the death of Big Paul? Paul?
I was happy there was one less character that I'd have to watch. The most annoying thing is that I think Braden's urban cyber thriller, I think there's a storyline in that.
So Revenge Incorporated, you're waiting for that.
You're down for that.
It was almost a bit like Minority Report, but we've got a company that can get revenge for you. Might have some legs in that.
Well, we'll see what happens. Well, the next morning, Braden calls a detective named Jody and reports that Ronnie may be the Greasy Strangler. Jody, who is really Ronnie in disguise, doing a weird kind of Bela Lugosi impression with long nails, visits the house, and Braden and Janet show him a spot of oil left behind on the carpet as evidence that Ronnie is the Greasy Strangler. Jody, though, concludes that the oil is meaningless circumstantial evidence and demands that all inquiries about Ronnie having committed the murders end there and then. So he cuts them off, and they don't realise that it's him. With a sort of false moustache.
And long fingernails.
Long fingernails and glasses, I think, at one point. So... it's that thing again, isn't it? They almost solve it. They're right there, and then they just mess up that little bit, and it causes more murder to happen. It's like Seven all over again. They had him there. It was the photographer. Do you remember we watched that in the cinema? And I went, "That's the killer," and everyone went, "Shh," and it was.
Yeah.
But Paul.
That night, Janet declares her mutual love for Braden, and they decide to get married. Ronnie, hiding under the bed, reveals himself, claiming Janet is his lover, and he's going to evict Braden. Janet replies that Braden can live with her. Ronnie covers himself in grease, slaps Braden, and drags Janet out of the house with him. Braden discovers Ronnie's grease stash and covers himself in grease as well, and then follows the two to a movie theatre where Ronnie is strangling Janet. Braden, upon seeing this, you'd expect him to try and help out, but oh no, because he's in Greece and is a son of a psycho, opts to strangle her instead. Her eyes then pop out of her head, which both he and Ronnie consume while watching the movie.
What a twist. Did you see that coming, Damien?
No, I didn't see that coming.
Paul?
Well, I did this time round, obviously, but not the first time round.
I lost the will by this point. I just couldn't give a shit. Really. Again, the special effects of the eyes bulging and popping out. Now that I know there was only a budget of $22,500, it's okay.
Cool.
Okay. Well, then the next day on a beach, Ronnie reveals that he secretly cares for Braden despite his annoyance with him. They bond over, in hindsight, their disgust with Janet. They cover themselves in grease and head to a forest where they murder Ricky Prickles. In a surreal turn of events, they then witness themselves being executed by firing squad, watching as confetti and champagne explode from their heads. They venture deeper into the forest, still covered in grease, and then later primarily shake wooden spears at the camera as it fades to black.
Yep.
Which I'm guessing is like them viewing their sort of end as humanity and them giving into the grease and living wild as greasy stranglers.
Yeah.
Any other artistic interpretations on those?
The one thing I will say
Oh.
is actually where they're having the conversation on the beach. There's some acting going on there.
I thought it was rather poignant.
Yeah. There's some almost genuine acting going on.
Yeah, no, they both are really good. With other things, they both are really good actors. And I think that's what makes it more weirder. Well, they're like this. But yeah, so that was the Greasy Strangler. Again, available on all things. I watched it on the Blu-ray that I own. Others watched it on, was it Amazon?
Yeah, it was on Amazon.
Yeah, so I gave them back about 1/500 their budget, renting it out. So
There you go.
they did
You're
well.
helping.
They did well out of me.
You're helping the sequel.
Yeah.
Okay, I will go round verdicts, Damien.
Okay. So
We won't give a score yet. Just give
no,
me the
I
overall,
won't give a
then
score.
we'll
Give a
yeah.
verdict. I enjoyed it more this time round than I did the first because, as I explained earlier, I was expecting something completely different. I was expecting a sort of
Good film.
I was expecting a noir kind of. I can't not cat peek. I can't think. I got this picture in my head of a movie poster. It's not. It's
To me, I don't know if it helps.
Doesn't matter. Go on.
When I was, you see here the Greasy Strangler, you think it might be like a 70s.
That's what I
type-
mean. Yeah, like
Street trash.
no, nothing like that. Opposite to that. I can't think of the bloody films now.
Zodiac.
No. You're talking like your 50s, 60s, stalkery type
Yeah.
dark films where
Like a noir type
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
that's what I was expecting because of all the hype and just the name of the film. But that's then. So I was annoyed with it. And I did watch it all the way through, but I was still annoyed with myself. This time round, because I knew what I was expecting, or knew what to expect, I should say, I enjoyed it more. I loved the soundtrack. I think the soundtrack suits it perfectly.
I'll agree with that comment.
Yeah. A lot of people don't like. A lot of people were annoyed by the soundtrack, but I
No,
think it suits it absolutely perfectly.
It matches the film.
And they do. The director's done something really clever with the shots. It's not just this type of film. Even like a trauma film like this would be a lot of fast action
Yeah.
cuts. These are mid-range shots. So like the very start of the film where they're walking.
It's almost a bit like Reservoir Dogs.
It you're right. That is exact.
Yeah.
Not trope. That's not the right word for it. But that's the style of directing that they've used, where they're mid-range. They're not long shots, but they're not close-ups. There's a close-up when they're doing the argument, the horseshit argument, but most of it is mid-range. So which as an audience, as a watcher, you're not in the action or you're not outside of the action. You're in the middle, which gives it that kind of surreal, dreamlike
And observation.
feel to it. Yeah.
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 Yeah, no, I like that. A lot of panning as well.
Yeah.
Like sort of following it along like big. Like the one, I think it's right at the beginning when they're walking along, like doing the tour. It's very much reminding me of like the Quick Stop Groceries, that sort of thing that Kevin Smith did. And then we get the whole storefront
Yeah.
as it goes along and that sort of thing. And yeah, no, I'd agree with that. I like that.
I mean, it might have been a budgetary thing. It may not have been, but even with the when they're in the disco, the camera is set up in one position, and it doesn't move. So it might, like I said, when they're dancing, and the guy's in the corner, and then he's joining them, doing the same dance with them. That camera angle hasn't changed, so it as an audience, as a viewer, you're not in the action as such, because that's what editing and all that does is gives you the same
point of view shots and that sort of thing. Yeah,
it's not giving you any of that. Excuse me.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, we are just an onlooker all the way through, aren't we?
It's almost voyeuristic rather than
Good work.
being inside the film like most films try and make an audience feel. As far as the plot goes, there isn't really one, is there? Let's be honest. I think there should have been more killings.
Yeah.
That would have made it funnier because I don't know why, but I piss myself laughing every time. And it's probably even the same shot. They probably just shot it once when he's in the car wash and he's being washed all the grease off. Every time it cut to that, I pissed myself laughing. I found it funny. There should be more of those. So I think you should have killed some more people. I've lost my train of thought. You want my verdict, but not my score.
Just your opinions and stuff.
Having said all that, though, it is disappointing in that you can see what it's trying to be. We've mentioned Troma a couple of times, and it doesn't quite, in my opinion, reach that standard.
I thought it was a bit higher up than the Troma, because a lot of the Troma stuff, whilst it is good for what it is very much kind of cardboard plywood sets and sort of.
But maybe that's the charm. I don't think there's any charm in this film.
There's certainly no charm.
Yeah, but I would argue that might be on purpose because no one in it is like.
I'm not saying it's not on purpose, but that's I don't feel it has.
But Troma was always low budget and kind of looked low budget. Even though it was low budget, and you'd have like the car crash with no one driving it because it was being pulled along.
I know that. Yeah,
I know what you mean. And whilst that is its charm in itself, this looked more like an actual film rather than.
Troma but that's the thing. That's what it. Yeah. But in my head, it looked like
it was trying
to be that,
no, I get you.
And having more money to do it. So. Don't try and be that and be your own thing. Because let's be honest, I mean, everything's been done. Virtually everything's been done. So, nothing in this film is shocking.
I think there's a few things in this film that haven't been done before.
Well, you say that.
In this genre.
I guess. But it's almost... It wants to be a comedy, but it's not mainstream funny enough to be a comedy.
Mm-hmm.
The horror isn't really horrific enough to be a horror. He could have been scarier as the Greasy Strangler. Which...
Yeah, because I was always on the bit of, like, are we supposed to actually, especially like at the beginning, are we supposed to realise it's him?
Yeah.
Or but the very first time, with the three people, and you see him wander along. Is he supposed to be so greased up we don't recognise?
It would have been better if there was a twist. I'm not going to lie.
And then we find out it's him.
The fact that he loves grease and is an arsehole, and it would have been more funnier if it was big whoever,
Yeah.
More funnier.
Oinker.
It might have been funny. I should have said not more funnier. That would imply that I found it funny.
And carry on. What else did you
go on, you carry on, Paul.
You picked up the baton.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, this is obviously not my cup of tea. You know I don't like surreal, dark comedies. This isn't dark, and this isn't really a comedy.
So you like it then?
No. That's what it... Yeah, maybe that's what it's trying to be, but... it's just not my thing. It's not my forte. I just don't find any of it funny. The fake penis is Jesus. If this was Mighty Boosh sketch that was on after 1 a.m. or something, there may be some shock factor. But this film doesn't really have any shock factor. It's just crap. There's a big penis, great. But, you've done that to try and be funny. I'm not laughing. Oh, great. Now I have to watch this big penis for 5 minutes and still not find it funny. The repetitive bits, which again, I think if you were stoned with a group of lads, you'd be giggling anyway. But if the film was on in the background, you'd probably think at the end of it, that was a fucking funny film. We were all laughing our asses off, weren't we? And then the next day you'd be going, bullshit, you're bullshit. And, in the playground or at college or whatever. And that there'd be some chuckles because of that. I didn't watch it with a group of friends when I was stoned out off my face. I watched it sober. And I just found it really hard to watch because again it's just not my cup of tea, and no disrespect to the director, I kind of got what it was trying to do. It was trying to be over the top. The Braden was supposed to be this arse of a kid. The dad was supposed to be an arse. I could get all the scenes. I understood exactly what they were trying to do. I just didn't laugh once. And it was another one of those ones I was waiting for it to end. But, hands up, this isn't my thing. I am never going to enjoy these over-the-top surreal comedies. I struggle with surreal comedies at the best of times. And this was just one step too far. Again, like Jesus Shows You to the Highway, which was far more surreal. And actually, in hindsight, I think that tried to do a lot more, and apologies to the director at the time. And maybe I gave him a bit more of a hard job.
He did listen to the podcast as well.
But he got my points as well. And I said at the time, this isn't my cup of tea. But at least you could see they were trying to do something surreal. In this, it just felt like we could have done a better job with about that much money. I don't really have much of a positive thing to say about it, apart from the bits I've chirped in with as well. I think where they had a limited budget, some of the shots were quite good. There was a semi-poignant scene with them on the beach. It would have been more interesting, actually, if there was a bit more normal dialogue. And then when he got really pissed off with his son,
then he switched
off.
I can see that.
But at the same time, I didn't realise it was done on such a small budget, because actually I think they managed to accomplish something on a budget. Well done. And, as I said, they made their money back more than if they'd have put it on red. Well, maybe they didn't after distribution costs and all that kind of good stuff. Who knows? But yeah, it's just not my thing.
No, fair enough. Not everything's everyone. I went back and looked at what I wrote at the initial time when I watched it. I did like a little review of it, and I put that it was a
masterpiece of modern times.
No, I put it was
rip-roaring comedy.
I put it was a fucked up steptoeing son crossed with Napoleon Dynamite. That was what I wrote.
Yeah, I can see the Napoleon Dynamite thing.
Because it was that kind of... And I wasn't even sure, I did look it up this time, that I thought Ricky Pickles might be the uncle from Napoleon Dynamite in like some sort of weird cameo, because he had a similar voice. But it wasn't him, It was just someone else. But that would have just been a nice touch, because I think he was called Ricky as well. So it would have just been a nice little...
I've only seen that once, so I wouldn't...
But it was that kind of thing. And it is, it's one of those films. I always said that, the Greasy Strangler will change your life one way or another once you watch it. And I think that's what makes a good film. And you don't have to like, but it made you feel something, whether it was repulsion or whether you were just laughing at it all the way through. You got a reaction out of you. And I think that's what films should do, because so many films you watch now and you're like,
That's why I don't watch Marvel films.
That's because you're missing out. But yeah, you're wrong. But you can have an opinion, but you're wrong. But it is that sort of thing, and I think that's where, without trying to get all arty-farty about it, I think that's where the genius it forces you to.
Did you say genius?
He did say genius.
I did say
For
genius.
fuck's sake!
But
really, genius.
No, I mean in general, that's where the genius is in film.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought you were talking about
like
this
film,
particular film.
But if it can make you if it makes you feel something, it's done something. Whether you like it or you hate it, then I think
Sounds a bit of a
good
cop out
thing.
to me. That you know.
Yeah, but how many things nowadays do we watch where we're just like, yeah.
Yeah, but that's almost like a art student cop out. It's like, what have you done? Oh, I filmed someone throwing darts at a pig head. You'll have a response to this. You might not like it, but you know you're.
I know what you
repulsed
mean.
by
It's
it.
like the old,
Yeah.
It's like art,
You'd be the one
modern
throwing
art and
darts,
stuff.
though. You'd be the one throwing the darts.
Fucking would, yeah.
But you know, I think it stands out over a lot of things that are trying to do that stuff nowadays. I mean, there's a whole genre of sort of gonzo filmmaking now. The top end of it being stuff like Psycho Ape and Psycho Ape 2 and stuff like that, where it is almost like that cheap someone in a monkey suit running around, and that's being released as a cult film now. Again,
Yeah, but this isn't Gonzo
I know,
filmmaking.
but this is gone now, but almost in that kind of the level below Troma now, that sort of thing. There's a whole that sort of cult bits coming up now, and there's film festivals for it. You know, we can make one now, and we
Yeah.
can probably get a film festival booking on, you know, without a script now and just do so. But I think it stands above that, and it has inspired a lot of other things, but not all of that's good. But hey, you know, people are trying to reach their dreams, I guess, and make a film. I'd like to make a film one day. Don't know what it's about yet, but
No, well, if you can scrape together $22,500, we'll be fine.
yeah. What's that in pounds? What's that? About £5, isn't it? But I'll give it a few years. Trump gets back in. Ooh. But yeah, so okay, going round for the verdicts then, Damien.
Okay. So, as I've said, I did enjoy it, but to me, and I might be wrong, but it just felt like it wanted to be a Troma film, and they just missed the mark. You know, there's not enough. There's not the thing about Troma is when the funny bits are really funny. In this one, with the exception of when he's going to the car, even to see it in my head makes me laugh. When he's going through the car wash, with the exception of that, that's the only bit that made me laugh out loud.
Not even the potato.
Yeah, but that's a different humour, if that makes sense. So, I mean, that actually is kind of almost clever humour that doesn't fit in this film because it's not
different tone. Isn't
it's a different tone to all the other humour that's in this film. You know, like when he's getting him out of, or when he goes into the bedroom with a cup of coffee for him, and he says, "I got something for you," and he lifts his ass and farts. That's the level of humour in this film for the rest of it, except that potato bit, and what's funny about that is it's not the guy saying potato wrong, it's the other guy's reaction to it, because it's like he's so polite, and I'm sorry, I'm just not hearing, can you please repeat it? You know, that is it's almost a level of sophistication above the rest of the humour in the film.
The awkwardness of the exchange, because he's trying to be
yeah. So this film feels to me like it's it's made by someone that loves Troma and all the other sort of surrealist comedies from the 70s, 80s. There wasn't really that many decent ones in the 90s, but those kind of films, and has tried to make their own one and hasn't thought it through enough. So I'm going to give it 6.5.
Okay.
Because
Mr.
the soundtrack had lifted it.
Yeah.
I was going 5, but the soundtrack gives it.
Because I think, that's what I said at the beginning, I think the soundtrack guy the music man deserves more credit.
Yeah.
It just, But anyway, Mr. Hawkins.
I am going to give
Deep
this.
breaths.
I thought you were going to start a seance or something.
No, I am going to give this some points.
Okay.
It deserves points.
I'm going to give it a point for making it on a budget and getting it through the door, because in 2016 and whenever it was made, to manage an independent film and get it out the door. And, you know, I've mentioned some of the special effects. Were they top notch? No, but to be fair, they weren't too bad compared to some
Even bigger budget films.
Yeah. I am going to give a point to the music. I don't know why people slated it, because I actually think it perfectly suited the film. You know, it was it was like it was an early 80s, late 70s soundtrack. Whoever did that, I think, summed it up and suited the film perfectly. And then I am going to give another point, which kind of pains me because I hated the fucking film.
Andrew Hung was the music man.
Yeah.
Sorry again.
But I am going to give it another point because I think there are some characters in there that could be a start of something. I wasn't repulsed by, and actually I thought they could be funny in a different film. And I liked the bit part actors. So I'm going to give it a 3.
Okay.
Sorry, can I just? I just want to interject just for a second, because it's just something to thought. I think the reason this got the hype that it got is because it was probably, or rather, what kickstarted the hype was likely a generation of people that had not been brought up on the Tromas and the 80s and the video nasties.
This was like a from out of nowhere kind of
Yeah,
thing.
because I think this is the thing for me. And because my dad watched this when it first came out and kept talking about it, but he would never have watched that, you know, Tromas and all that sort. I keep saying the word. I can't in my head now. I can't think of any of the other sort of genres of film, but he would never have watched Toxic Avenger or anything like that. So when he saw this, he was like, not shocked and outraged isn't the right word, but he was just like, he'd never seen anything like
this. Because this was a mainstream. Like if it was at a video shop, no one would have picked it up. But it was on Sky Movies.
Exactly. That's how my dad watched it.
I would have, yeah. And people would have gone, "Oh, it's on Sky. It must be."
Yeah. So he'd never seen anything like it, and that's why he was like pissed himself laughing and kept talking about it for weeks. But because we were brought up on that stuff, that's why I don't find it as shocking or as good as it could have been. But maybe if you'd have erased my mind and I'd never seen Toxic Avenger or
any of those,
Taxi Thingamajiggy or whatever, any of that stuff,
Sergeant Kabuki Man, NYPD,
then maybe I would have given it a higher score and it would hold. I'd have enjoyed it more. Sorry, that was
no,
something I meant to mention earlier and forgot. Go on then.
Okay, for me, again, I think it. I forgot what I was going to say now. Similar to what you were saying, really. I think it brought that genre from an independent video store kind of level to a mainstream audience. And again, like similar to what you're saying, you know, it was something that a lot of people probably would have ignored initially, but because it was on channels and services that people watched it and were like, what the hell's this? And maybe it's opened doors for other things to either backtrack and, you know, explore the Tromaverse or other things like that, and maybe opened the doors for like other filmmakers of that sort of thing coming up and thrown the rope back over the wall to maybe pull a few more people up. I mean, the follow-up he did to this is called An Evening with Beverly Loughlin, and it's about a psychic medium, and all of these guys are in it again, but it's also there's a lot more famous people. It's got the big dude from Hot Tub Time Machine.
Oh, well, I know you mean. I don't know his name, but I know you mean.
Now. I'm not going to say it because I'll get it wrong. But it's a lot more people have come on board to work with this guy because they liked it. So I think there's a third film in development, or I think he did a TV series or something. Because I was looking it up, and you know, so he's developing his style as he's going along as well. He's an English director as well, and I think it's one of those sort of I think in a kind of film studies media kind of way, I think it's a sort of a landmark film.
See, I don't think it
I
is.
think in a roadmap of like that's when that started to happen. Not saying this film is the landmark, but I think it will be when the Greasy Strangler came out. Because of that, we started to get these, and we started to get these
Potentially,
and
but I don't think it's not going to hold up like your Tromas and your.
oh yeah, no, I think
Video
well, I say,
nasties.
but he's doing other things after that as well that are being highly praised. But I think it's that kind of. I'm trying to think if anything, like say you had like Psycho Ape and stuff that's come out since then, which is a lot less budget than this, but people are queuing up to see it at film festivals at midnight. It's that thing again, the showgirls type thing, where people are, and I think it's brought more people, made more people aware of that kind of genre of film, and brought that more. So I think that's why it's more of a landmark sort of thing in that way. Because like I said, like your dad might now go, oh, if you liked
Greasy Strangler.
Greasy Strangler, about to say Psycho Ape, then you might like this, and he might watch that now, whereas before he might not have done.
Yeah.
And it's that kind of, rather than the film necessarily being a seminal piece of work, although there are some nice moments in it, I think in that way it's kicked a door down a little bit between mainstream and
Well, I hope that's the
indie,
case. I mean,
yeah.
anything that knocks Marvel, Mission Impossible, and James Bond out of the fucking cinemas is a good thing for me.
Well, we'll see what happens.
I don't think this is ever going to knock them out, is it? Let's face it.
Not
But-
that film, but I get
But that said, I think
Brett's thread.
It's catchy in its own ways. The hootie tootie disco cutie, the bullshit artists, and I just never want to cook food like that ever. That was the bit that disturbed me the most. Was when they were doing the food. It was just bleh, I feel it now. But I'm gonna go for. I think it has over time because it's nearly 10 years now. I think I would have gone an 8 or a 9 back then.
I don't know you.
But I think now, over time, and seeing the impact a bit later, and that I'm going to go a strong 7.
You're such a twat. Seriously.
So, thank you for allowing me my independence and own opinion.
Honestly, Jesus. I don't know you.
I just explained my reasons.
Yeah, but it's all wrong, isn't it?
You like Time Bandits.
Yeah, but so did more than 4 other people in the world.
Name them.
Damien,
That's 1.
me as a kid,
And my cat doesn't count.
does count.
Okay, where does that put it on the scoreboard?
Okay,
Damien?
so that puts it at number 40.
Okay, what's above and below?
So above it is extra. So this Greasy Strangler came out with 16.5. Extra also came out with 16.5. And immediately below that, at 15.8, randomly, is Mystery Men.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. I want to change my score.
No, it's too late now. You've given it a score.
-3, I said.
what was above it?
Just above it was Extra. And then above that is Life Force. Jesus Shows You the Highways even higher. It's 17.
Jesus shows you the way to the highway.
That's the one. I've only put Jesus Highway here because I couldn't be bothered to write it all. But I mean, it's coming above Hear No Evil, See No Evil, Masters of the Universe, The Gate, Beastmaster, Tron.
See, and that's why you two should feel ashamed.
I don't feel ashamed.
I don't at all.
I don't dislike this. I mean, let's say I don't dislike it at all. But what knocks it down for me is I just felt it was too much trying to be something that
Trying
it
too hard to wing it. Okay.
didn't need to do. It could have been its own thing.
Well, anyway, Paul, you've expressed your disgust at this week's choice, but now, as our Graham once said, the decision is yours.
Yeah, so
Scrape the grease off and give us something clean.
So I had to think about this one. I had a few choices. And I've chosen this one because I remember watching it with my dad, and he loved it. I loved it as a kid.
It's not the champ, is it?
Oh
Oh,
God,
God, no.
we're never doing that.
Emotionally, I don't think I could take that a week after the Greasy Strangler. No, but I thought I'd go for something different. It was directed by Norman Jewison. a multi-award winner and proper awards, not Greasy.
Not Kansas City Film Festival.
Yeah, a late night film festival for weirdos.
Leave those Saturn Awards alone.
Yeah, Academy Award winner, Emmy Award winner. He directed things like Thomas Crown Affair, Chicago, Fiddler on the Roof, Jesus Christ Superstar. We're not watching that. But a couple of years after Jesus Christ Superstar,
He got desperate.
oh no, he went up in particularly because Jesus Christ Superstar is not my cup of tea.
Yeah.
I don't think so. As I said, he's just great at directing. In 1975, he directed a film with none other than James Caan. Rollerball.
Do you know what? I nearly picked that the other day.
Oh, why the fuck didn't you then?
Because I went for the Greasy Strangler.
Yeah, so Rollerball, 1975, James Caan. I'm not going to lie, my hindsight of this is all good things. But I want to do this to see if my memory of the film, like Tron, still stacks up today, and whether it's worth its cult status.
Okay,
It's available on Apple TVs. I think it's on Prime.
I have it on Blu-ray.
Of course you do. But for other people that may not have it on Blu-ray, it's on streaming services to rent for about the normal, which probably $3.50 or something.
$3.50.
Or I give out Brett's address online, and you can go around there to pick up the DVD.
Yeah, you just have to...
A small charge.
Bring a big pot of grease. You bullshit artists. Right, so that pretty much wraps up our show then. So if you're playing at home, it's Rollerball in a fortnight's time.
Yeah, the 1975 version.
Oh, yeah, not the remake.
James Caan. Oh, yeah, there was, wasn't there?
Yeah.
I actually forgot
Early
that.
2000s, 20 odd years
It
ago.
was the dude from American Pie, wasn't it? The tall one.
I never watched it. I didn't want to watch it.
I did watch it.
Ox? I want to say ox or moose or something. The tall one. He was in...
We can talk about that next
in
time.
I'm 5'7". Everyone's tall to me, Brett.
Let's talk about that next time.
Yeah, he was in...
Don't start
Flash.
stealing the thunder.
Yeah, you're right. Okay.
Bullshit artist.
You're a bullshit artist. So to wrap it up...
See, that's what I'm saying. If we'd have all watched it stoned, the next day we'd have been laughing at it. Potentially.
Dear.
I feel you're more angry at the film because you didn't have drugs than you are the film.
As I said, I think if this was released in the late 90s, I can't believe we're still talking about it, but if this was released in the late 90s...
You just brought it back up.
People high as a kite, next day you'd have thought it was a good film, but most of that would have been because of the drugs. Another reason not to do drugs, kids.
Yes, he's correct. Okay, then. So this is the end of this week's episode. If you want to contact us about what we've done wrong, said right, or forgotten, you can either comment below on the video while you're liking and subscribing, or you can email us at
cultfactionpodcast@mail.com. And let's be honest, you have a lot of ammo this week to tell two people why they are wrong.
Or one why they're wrong.
Yeah.
Exactly. So who is right and who is wrong? Am I just not getting the surreal comedy thing from this film? Or are these two just idiots? Let us know, viewers.
And if you want to stay up to date with some of the major things that might be happening, you can go to...
Sorry, I've just nailed in my head my choice when it's my choice. And I can't wait.
Oh, God.
Sorry, what was that?
What's the mothership?
Our mothership is cultfaction.com.
Right. So
With the W's at front, if you want to be pedantic.
The http://www.cultfaction.com. Do you remember when they used to do that?
Yeah.
http:// that's the one that goes that way.
Yeah. You should explain it.
I feel like Clive Dunn is with us. So anyway, that is the end of this week's episode. So it is a goodbye from me, Brett Summers.
It's a goodbye from me, a distraught Paul Hawkins.
It's a goodbye from me. Loving it, Damien Hicks.
We're off to find some hootie tootie disco cuties.
No, I'm not.
And we'll see you bullshit artists later.
Superman.
Lisa Mafia, remember I told you I'm a soldier and it's all over.
And then, because I clicked on it, some of you interacted with it, just posted them. It's like, yeah, but I only interacted because you told me someone had posted.
I interrupted because you told me to.
Once I was fuck
Shut
off.
up.
I then had to watch porn for 6 hours because of that.